Hello, my name is Mike Losowski, and I am the CTO and interim CEO of Teadate, a brand new dating app that I launched on Valentine's Day. And for only $400 in marketing, we reached our first 10,000 users. We're all about tastes. We help you find your cup of tea. Let's say that you want to marry someone gluten-free who loves sci-fi and rattlesnakes as pets. I'm sorry, but you have a needle in a haystack problem. You could go to one of the major dating websites where there are checkboxes, but these interests that they have available to you, they're too general, and it's a little boring, so the experience is not even something anybody participates in. Or you could go to a niche site. There's gluten-free singles, but they only focus on one taste. We have lots of tastes, and no site matches on all of your specific tastes. We're introducing taste-based matching. In 3 easy steps, we're going to help you rate your tastes, find matches, and play games and tell stories about your tastes. The benefit is we help you find matches for all of your tastes. And if you have a new taste, upload a photo. It's visual, it's fun, and it kickstarts the conversation because of the games and the storytelling, solving another important problem in dating. And with all the great information that we have about your taste, we should be able to command a high premium on advertising dollars, solving another problem in the dating industry. My name is Mike Losowski. I co-founded NetBase, where I've done data science on people's tastes for the last 10 years. Prior to that, I did my MBA at MIT and my computer science degree at Berkeley. My co-founder, Pesh, started Trans Models, the first transgender modeling agency that's been featured in the New York Times, Vogue, and 30 other publications worldwide. We've got the technology and the marketing skills to pull this off. And we have a first mover advantage because we've already begun testing the user experience with 100 users. And we have 10,000 more that we acquired on only $400. This is a great crucible for us to hone the technology and make it perfect while we acquire patents. Our market segmentation, doing a bottom-up and a top-down analysis, we've discovered that there are over 50 million adults in the United States who are dating online, according to Match.com. And Facebook is earning $12 a year per user on advertising. No other dating apps are not able to achieve this. We think we're going to be able to. And within the next 5 years, if we can acquire the 2 million users we think is reasonable to acquire, we'll have a $24 million business. This year, we're investing in the technology. Next year, we're going to develop our user base and our advertising business. Exit opportunities for this are very straightforward. IAC owns 45 brands in dating, and they acquired OkCupid for $50 million. But here's the important thing. According to the New York Times, niche sites are pulling singles away from the larger sites that IAC owns. And all of the sites have found limited success with advertising. These are problems that taste-based matching is going to solve for the dating industry. We'd like to ask you for $750,000 on convertible note, and we will productize taste-based matching. We'll draw in users from the different taste communities, for example, Juan Antonio, soccer lovers, and we'll create advertising businesses on these important tastes. Join us, and let's help everyone find their cup of tea.
That'd be a great pitch. Sim.
So I'm sorry, Michael. I'm so sorry, by the way, this is silly, but I have to get this straight because I have heard your presentation once before. And we are saying taste. Are we talking about the taste like something we eat and drink, or taste like I like soccer versus baseball?
It could be foods. It could be interests.
Yes,
it could be all sorts of things that you care about.
So taste in the more generic word, not like one of the senses of the body taste.
That's right.
Okay, I just wanted to get that.
More specific than
because you kept on saying tea, so I thought it's.
Yeah. But how do you bring out each kind of taste? Let's go to the next level of that question.
Soccer, skiing, activities.
What is the interface? How does that brought about? How does that free flow for a user?
So we have categories. Within those categories, we have specific tastes. You can search for specific tastes. You can upload photos of your particular tastes. so we can cover all of your tastes, no
Like
matter
this thing
how
it says
detailed.
sport, soccer, and then boom, and then just
Detailed.
girls don't like
Yes.
soccer.
And then you get into soccer. Who's your
Wow.
favorite player?
Should give me this 13 years. Okay. Paul, please.
So your whole business is predicated around the fact that people with like tastes will attract each other, right? That's first thing. Second thing is you think that the advertisers are gonna flock to that model. Okay, so, I'm gonna give you some feedback right now. My wife and I, our tastes are so different, it's amazing. So she likes a whole bunch of stuff that I don't like, and I like a whole bunch of stuff she doesn't like. We've been married 38 years.
And I know her well, she's much more classy than this guy.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So-
Much more classic.
so I
They started
understand-
Sloan.
I understand your reasoning, but right now there are literally thousands, and I mean thousands of companies like yours that are trying to get the advertisers as the way they're gonna make their money. So how are you gonna differentiate yourself in that environment with all that competition? Not just in this space, but the advertisers. How are you gonna attract them? How are you gonna differentiate yourself?
Did you break down your points, Paul? Sometimes people's interests attract each other. Sometimes opposites attract. But we've already thought through how that can work. It's not important because the very first thing we're going to develop is the gamification and the storytelling. It's not always about matching based on taste. It's about getting to know your partner. And that's what you know about your wife. And that's what you know about your partner, is all of your interesting tastes. So we're going to have a storytelling capability that's going to increase the utilization rate of our system, which means users are going to keep flocking back, which is what the advertisers want. They want the eyeballs. We're going to have the users. We've already tested this with 100 users, and they love the interface because it's a very fun way to gamify the experience.
Other questions? Yes, go ahead, sorry, please.
What was that site that he might have, the gentleman just passed away, I think, the one that's based really on science, the dating site.
In Harmony, he retired. I
So
believe.
my question to you is a little bit related to what Paul says. Behind this, do you have a semantic model that really is based on any kind of science that says people once you have this information, I get it, gamification gets you this information about the users. What's underneath? Do you have an algorithm? Is there any intelligence that really matches people that really should be matched or not?
So we have to develop those proof points together. That's what we're looking for the investment to do. Once we can get those proof points, we believe that we can prove that sort of thing, but it takes time. What we intend to do is prove things like you can get more dates with people who are more relevant. We can't wait 50 years for the...
We're going to switch to feedback now, non-rebuttal feedback. Start with Asim, Paul, Antonio, and then Matt. Asim?
So Michael, obviously you're very passionate about this, right? And this is the second time I'm hearing your pitch. Your pitch is definitely better than before. But I do have one suggestion. Well, I have 2 or 3 suggestions actually. And before I go further, let me say in these events generally, I like to give the challenges more attention rather than the positives, right? So that because all of us are putting in this work and effort, we might as well learn from it. I think you have great background, right? Computer science from wherever, and then MBA from Sloan, and then your co-founder, Edge, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say her name. She seems to have great background. But you need to think carefully, are you on the right path? Even after you explain it to me, it sounds very generic. This taste thing, how is this different from the component in the general dating sites called interests, right? You have interests. I can just make a case that you are just adding more interests or more categories there, right? I think Juan totally nailed it. That's exactly what I was going to say. If you can prove to us that you have done an analysis of 100,000 couples, people like Paul who have been married for 38 years, or people like me who have been married much less, and kind of see that, okay, even people who have different tastes, but if they are a coffee drinker versus tea drinker, this thing, some weird, like far-fetched science, which sounds far-fetched to us right now, but you can prove it with data, and you are kind of putting this in the whole thing, then you have something. Otherwise, I mean, you present very well, everything is very well presented, but I just don't see the differentiator.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, Paul?
Yeah, I think what you're doing is
Paul,
interesting.
excuse me, we're going to try using these, but you may not get feedback. Turn that off, and we'll use it anyway.
Hello? So I think what you're doing is interesting, but My concern is this. What you're doing, to me, has little or no defense. I mean, why can't the existing dating sites, Match or whatever, just basically flip a switch and basically add in my preferences or tastes? And if they do that, I mean, they got a huge footprint with, millions of users. You're out of business. So how do you protect that? You didn't explain that. And, you're coming into a market that was established, 15, 20 years ago. And like I said in my introduction, if you're not first, second, or third, the view never changes. So you haven't, in my mind, okay, and in your presentation, and you're very enthusiastic, that's a positive. You haven't differentiated for me how you're going to protect your IP and accelerate your IP, and how you're going to keep the bad guys, that is the competition, at your heels and not in front of you, running you over. So.
Thank you, Paul.
Juan Antonio?
Hi. So enthusiasm off the charts. A little bit counter-cyclical here. I do think actually you might be onto something, but I do agree with my colleagues here. Maybe the presentation doesn't focus on that enough. I do believe there may, well, I'm out of touch anyway because I'm not dating sites, but I mean, and we actually have a founder of a precursor of Minds.com in our group. The gamification, the interface, the theme of taste, the brand, Teadate, I think you might be onto something there. That and I don't know exactly yet what it is, but that seems to be almost the only unique piece of it. In the end, attracting users can be done in many ways, and I do think there's nothing wrong or shameful about a great interface and utilizing techniques like gamification to get people to actually, get onto a paradigm. What I think you have here is a paradigm, right? But underneath there doesn't seem to be much. So, you could become just, I get all the time, cycling singles and whatever. Ethnicity, there's all kinds of things going on, right? I don't get soccer singles. I don't know what the hell's going on there. There's 2 billion people in the world that like soccer. So anyway, I would just, maybe that's my feedback.
Thank you, Mike.
I do think you have something there, actually.
Pass the mic down to Matt, please.
The example was really bad, sorry, I need to say it. Like, if you have something called taste, and then all you show there is like paella and pistachio, I mean, and people think food and drink, so choose another example, right? Sorry.
See what my wife eats today and what I eat today.
I'm gonna, a lot of what I was gonna mention immediately what Paul said, which is if you're not number 1, 2, or 3, you're number 4, you're like 444 in the dating space. So it becomes critical, like, why am I resetting back to 1 again? I think you spent more than half your time talking about the dating space, and anybody who hasn't been on a dating site either doesn't care about the opposite, doesn't care about ever dating, or is not gonna do it. So I think I would get much quicker to like those differentiators and flesh those out. You mentioned, the other thing is, for instance, who's your target market? Most dating sites, it isn't about the men, it's about the women. So why does this actually matter to women? And you talked about, I think, Paul, demonstrating a command of your marketplace. Your marketplace is women, right? If the women come, guys will be there in droves, right? So you need to make that clear why this works for them. You also mentioned that it is better for advertising, and it was on the tier chart, but you went really quickly through that, so I'm not sure I understand why it's better for advertising. You showed, the most concrete things you showed were facts about why advertising did work with dating. I don't think you ever got to why it actually did for you. So I would retool this to allocate way more of your time to what makes you special.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, you guys ready to vote? 1, 2, 3. 6 and 4 is 10. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.